You guys can ask us pretty much anything that you've been wanting to know, like if you were ever admitted to the hospital, if you ever had family admitted to the hospital, you can say, hey, I don't know what was happening when my mom was there or when I was there. What are y'all actually doing? Are you talking to the doctors? Do you even care about what our plan is? So you'll be able to ask all of those questions, anything you want to ask. We'll be happy to answer it if we can. You can ask us things about the COVID, how we feel about the COVID vaccine. We'll give you our honest opinion, our honest answers. But today's webinar is just to have lots of fun and let you guys know what we're thinking. And as patients, how to kind of more communicate with the nurse. So my panel is here. Well, one of them, Cola, is here. Cola's been a nurse for about 5.5 years. I met her at Wellstar. I was already there and she came on and we just hit it off. So she's a great nurse. Cola, you were a teacher first, right? No? What did you do before that? Okay. And then, got it. Okay. So that's what she was doing. And then she came over to the dark side of nursing. So that's how I met Cola. And we became fast friends. My other friends, the other panel, Latima Robinson and Dadriana Whiteman, they are trying to get on. We're trying to get them on right now. Latima's on. Hi, team. Hi, Tima. I was just talking about you. Can you hear me? Okay. I can't really hear her. Yes, now I can. Latima, this is Cola. Cola, Latima. So
I'm getting ready to bring y'all into the street.
Everybody's about to come in. My IT guy working on it. Can everybody see everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, team. Okay, I'm gonna try to just keep it moving because I haven't seen y'all's faces in a minute, so I'm excited. But at the same time, I gotta do this webinar. I act like I ain't excited. So, hey guys, thank y'all for coming. So I was just telling everybody we're just gonna have a great time asking questions. We're gonna take their questions. And in the meantime, if there's nothing coming in, we got things that we as nurses can talk about and just kind of have some fun with. We're still waiting on Daedry, but I'm sure Ray will get her on soon. So, how you guys been? Let's start with that. How you guys been?
Tired.
I know. Yeah. Tired. I know, Tim, you picked up some days and stuff.
Yeah.
Working extra.
Yeah. The last couple of weeks hasn't been that bad, but yeah.
Okay.
Short.
Good. I'm glad everybody. I'm so glad to see y'all. It's been a minute. I hate COVID because of that reason.
I know, right?
I do nothing. So, guys, I think we're gonna go ahead and just get started. I know that I'm almost positive nothing has come in quite yet. Ray will tell me if it has. But just to go ahead and keep it moving, keep it flowing, I'm going to, I don't know, I know you guys got the questions. So we'll just start with the big thing. I mean, the elephant in the room is COVID, of course. So how do you guys feel about the vaccine? Have you gotten it? What do you think about it? If you haven't gotten it, what's your reasons? What do you think?
I have not gotten my vaccine yet. We are offering it to our patients, and we've been out in the cold giving it. I just haven't decided whether or not I'm going to take it. I have not had COVID. I know, and I don't have antibodies. I just found that out. So,
okay.
The more that I talk to my patients, the more sick that they are, the more I want to get the vaccine. But I just have my reservations about just the mRNA aspect of it. As much as I am really excited about the implementation of mRNA for vaccines, and I'm really excited about what it can do for cancer treatment. I just haven't decided if I want something so new in my body, but I don't want COVID either.
Got it. So it's a battle right now. It's a battle. It's a battle, but of wills, of minds, of how you feel about it.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
I understand that.
I don't judge those who want it, or I just I think it. I think I'll eventually get it.
Right. What do you think, Tima?
Well, I did take the vaccine. I got my second shot a couple of weeks ago. Before I got it, I was kind of on the fence as well. I tried to do a little bit more research about it. I talked to one of our infectious disease doctors about it and try to get a better understanding exactly what it does and to make sense for me to take it.
Right.
Even after I talked to the infectious disease doctor and he explained what they're saying it's supposed to do, basically, I guess, create the
spike.
I guess and so if your body does come in contact with COVID, your body be able to fight it. So I understood that aspect of it. I still did not know if I wanted to do it, but I talked with my mom. Leslie, my mom has cancer, has colon cancer, and so she talked to me about it, and she really, wanted me to get it. And she did get it as well as my dad did because they are 65, and older. And then I just thought about, and also with faith with God, I'm saying if this is something that they saying that this is going to help, and the more people get it, the more people, the maybe can thin out the virus and the outbreaks, even if they not, continue to not do the things they need to do, like social distance and wear the mask in public and all that good stuff. But I just feel like it's going to help in the long run. And I really gave it up to God on that.
Right. Because that's what I was talking to a couple of my family members about. I got it the second vaccine. The second dose probably 3 weeks ago now. So, it's a struggle because, to be honest, Black people have trust issues when it comes to this kind of thing. And and it's completely understandable. It's been a lot of things that's happened in our history that makes us have some reservations. So I did intense research before I got it to see what was going on, what was actually happening, what's being injected into my body.
Right.
I settled with it kind of like I was on the fence like Cola for a long time. Even while I was researching, I was trying to find things that, I would have questions about. I would ask those questions to myself and then kind of try to research it at the same time. So there was a time that I didn't feel all that, I was like, oh. But then after research, I was cool with it, Of course, there are the jokes, in 20 years, we're going to grow wings and stuff like that. But, and then I'm on with Tima as far as giving it to God, just, that's all we can do. We got to do something. We got to do, this can't go on. And so I look at it as the flu vaccine as well. We got the vaccine for the flu many years ago. The flu killed people, so a lot of people. So, and then after a while, it's just, we learn to live with it kind of. So I don't know. That's where I am. But like Cola, I don't judge if people don't want it. I'm not going to stress it. I will encourage, but I won't, if people don't want it, they don't want it, So let's move on. Ray, we're still good? Okay. So I thought of these questions because I thought they would be fun to answer because, as nurses, I know Tima and I think are the only of the panel that's still bedside nurses. But I know Cola and Deidre were. So you guys, we all got stories. So I thought this would be fun to let the audience know kind of what we go through. In a day, this webinar can't even cover half the stuff we go through. But it was funny to me to try to come up with this stuff. So let's see. So how do you deal, or how do you or how have you dealt with a rude, obnoxious patient? How do you deal with those? Because I know we all had them. So how do you deal? What's your process? What's your way?
You know, it's funny you asked that question, even though that one wasn't on the list.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No, it's funny because in the nursing profession that I work in, I think we all get rude and obnoxious patients. So I don't think I get any more than anyone else. But when I get them and they're walking in on fire, coming in hot, you know. I mean, and I had just this week alone, I had so many. And I just said to someone yesterday, I said, they need to hire me just to calm these patients down. So
somebody separate for that.
Right, my own job, just, you know, the equalizer. So, you know, I try and stay calm, because when they're worked up, I get it why they're worked up. So I really try and make sure that I'm calm. And once I'm calm, I like to repeat what they say to me, just so that they can hear it. Because sometimes they're so worked up, they don't even know what they're saying. And so once I'm able to speak to them, I repeat it back to them what they want. And then I really try and do my very best to get it handled. I don't like to be a patient or a customer somewhere where I'm venting to a store manager or whoever, and then they won't even go and try and fix my issue. So I'll at least try and fix their issue if it's something I can do. Even if I know I can't fix it, and all I tell them is I'm going to go talk to somebody. That usually gets them calm down.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. What happened?
You hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna say I agree. I try to do that as well. That's my intentions when I'm in the room with the patient or the family member. I do try to listen, and I try to work on my nonverbal as well as my verbal expressions. Because in the past, you know, well, I had an incident with a patient family member where they said my verbal was totally different what I was saying. So I have tried to make a conscious effort to try to work on that as well when I have to deal with someone that's having some, you know, complaints or being rude, and so try to talk in a calm manner and listen to what they have to say. And if it's something that I know that I probably cannot take care of, I try to go either get another resource, another nurse, a supervisor, or try to reach out to the doctor. And also I try to follow back up with it and let them know when I talk to this person, the doctor or the supervisor, and what was the results of it. And sometimes most times that kind of help calm the situation.
So thanks, team. So guys, we are my third panel member is here. Well, fourth if you count me, but Deidre is here. Hi, Deidre. I miss you.
Hi.
This is Cola. This is Deidre.
Hi.
Cola.
Hey, Cola. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Deidre, guys.
Oh, we lost her.
We lost her. Hi, team. Big hugs, team.
We still live. How y'all doing?
That's okay. I can still give you hugs. Big hugs.
Okay, I'm trying. My sister family dog is gonna be barking. I'm trying to calm him down. So I don't know. Every time the ring goes off, he starts to bark. So that's why I keep moving
I'm in the
around.
car currently. So
You guys can hear me still? I know you can't see me, but can you hear me?
Hopefully.
yes,
I can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay, so let me go ahead and finish.
We
What
hear
I
you,
was
but don't see you.
Yeah, it's coming. He's working on it. So what I was saying was,
Are we live and they not live? Okay.
Yeah, no, everybody's live. I wanted to. He was fixing the camera so I can stop looking down at you guys and then having to look up to the camera. So, hey everybody, yay! So what we were talking about, I was for everybody, I was just letting you guys know that Deidre is here. Um, Deidre is so funny. I text her and I was like, "How long have you been a nurse?" And she was like, "Really? Like as long as you." So that's that's how long we've been knowing each other. We went to LPN school together. That was 16 years ago, I think. And Tima actually precepted Deidre and I when we came on. She had been there a year, I think, at medical center a year. And then when we came on, she trained us. So that's how we all became friends, and we're all still friends. So
Wow.
grateful. So anyway, that's the little history behind that.
I'm
But
still a little salty that you even asked me how
I
long I've
know,
been a nurse.
I know. I'm sorry. I felt real crunchy after I
Yeah,
asked you.
I was like, for real, did you really ask this? Did you forget?
Just letting you know, I did feel crunchy, if that helps.
Good. I'm glad you deserve it.
So what we were talking about, ladies, is how to deal with rude patients. Cola said something very good. She was like, if you have to stay calm, because if you don't stay calm, it just heightens the situation. Then Tima was saying, you have to sometimes you got to bring supervisors in to deal with them, because sometimes it's out of your hand. Sometimes people over there and you over here, you know what I mean? So you got to do what you got to do. So Deidre, how do you deal with, I know you haven't been bedside in a minute, but you still kind of dabble. So how do you deal with rude patients?
Rude patients.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a difficult one. I guess it depends on the circumstance or the situation. One of the things that I don't do well is when they're disrespectful to our nurses. Funny story, just the other day, had a nurse come out of a room and she was like, "I need somebody in here." And the patient had a plate and was trying to sling the plate at the nurse. Completely alert and oriented, but being rude and disrespectful. Just wanted her out of the room. So in that circumstance, listening is always going to be, unfortunately, with this individual, we did have to call security because it was threatening to the nurses.
Right.
But most of the time, listening, trying to sit down, usually if they see, oh, I'm the director, not that that means anything different than, but to them, that means, okay, now let me tell you my complaint, and then I can talk them through it, listen to it, and then the good thing is that because I do still work bedside sometimes, I know that there's always two sides to every story. So I'll listen, I'll hear what they have to say. They think that they've, done their due. And then, of course, if it is something valid, I will counsel or coach the nurse, get their side, find out what happened. Because, of course, we never want our patients to feel some kind of way about how they're being treated. But mainly it's listening to what they have to say, and then making sure that I follow back up, closing that loop, come back the next day. Is it better? How are we doing? Have you had that situation again?
Yeah, following up is key.
Yes.
For sure. Because, especially as supervisor, charge nurse, whatever, you really do have to follow up.
Right.
People like to feel remembered. They like to feel like that they matter. And that's one way to show them that, hey, yeah, I heard you, and now I'm following up, making sure you're good. So I don't see anything. Ray set it up now where I can see the comments, which I'm kind of glad that I came up with these questions, because I knew it might be some dead space, and then we just all talking about how much we miss each other, which I'm sure people don't want to really hear. So, so we're gonna get
okay with that. We're okay with that.
with the next one. Right. In your opinions, I think it's question 9 that I sent y'all. In your opinion, is nursing a hard career?
Nursing is, and I don't know which one of us you were talking to, but
either. I guess I can start calling names because we all got things and situations we could share. So, okay, since you started, Deidre, go ahead, and then we'll move.
So nursing is rewarding and hard at the same time. Hard because it's emotional and it's taxing emotionally as well as physically because you're moving constantly. But rewarding in the sense that that someone came to you sick and then you helped make them better.
Right.
And there are thankful patients. It's also thankless at times. But is it hard? It's hard in different ways. You just have to know how to cope with what those things are.
That's what I was thinking. It's
emotionally for me more so than hard work.
Right. It's a loaded question because hard can mean anything.
Yes.
Cola, what do you think?
Yeah, and I don't think it's not, a lot of people who aren't nurses will say, nurse, this is too hard. How can you do this? I was that person. So at times it is hard. When of course it's emotionally hard for sure. But at times, you have to be able to pull out that nursing knowledge and use it. And so it's not that it's an easy profession. I think that it requires all the work that we put into it, especially in nursing school. And then when we start to practice, and that's what we're doing, practicing. We're practicing all the time.
Right.
So sometimes, it can be hard. It's always hard on my body and it's always hard on my mind.
Right.
But I think it should be. I think it's a profession that should be just as respected as being a medical doctor, and everyone thinks that's hard.
Right.
So like you said, hard is relative, but definitely I think it should be a profession that's respected as being just as difficult as being a medical doctor.
For sure. Tima.
Yes, I feel like I agree with both Cola and Deidre because I do feel like at times it's going to be hard or taxing. Especially the last year, it really tested a lot of emotions.
Oh my gosh, right.
And spirituality in all of us, I believe. I feel like I know I became a nurse because I like taking care of people. I like helping people. And that's why I'm still a nurse.
Right.
And I also feel like just like we are practicing nurses, we are using our brain for critical thinking. We taking care of people's lives. We are at the bedside along with our techs, along with our respiratory therapists. We're at the bedside more than doctors most times. And we
all the time. All the time.
But we do deserve that respect because we are there. We're taking care of them. Sometimes we're the last person that person sees.
Exactly. And I don't think people understand, which is why I wanted to do this webinar, so you can get the nurses aspect of it. You don't often hear that. So that's why I wanted to kind of delve into this topic, because I don't think people really understand how taxing it is on our psyche, our physical body. I mean, when people joke around and say, I haven't used the bathroom in 5-6 hours, that's for real. Like, I think people think we make that up. That is so true. We don't eat for hours that you may go your whole shift and try to just throw something in your mouth because you're taking care of people. And I think
the other part of that, Les, is that you do so much, you do all those things to take care of people, and every time you turn around, there's something else someone is asking you to do. It's my daughter said it well. You're giving and giving and giving, but nobody's filling your bucket. And if your bucket's not full, so you have to find a way, because it is hard to fill your own bucket and feel rewarded in what you do, because there is a constant push to here, now do this, here, now do this, now do this.
Right. It's
you can be very thankless.
Right. It's very thankless. And if you're in it for that, you will not stay in it.
Oh,
for
no.
Sure.
Right.
We got a question, you guys, from Facebook. So let's see what it is.
All right. Erica asks, do you ever feel intimidated by doctors?
Did you guys hear?
Yeah, certainly at times. Yeah.
In the beginning, not anymore.
Yeah. Once you start working with the same doctors all the time, then you get real comfortable. But I think in the beginning, and then some doctors want you to be intimidated by them and they continue that behavior. So you get used to that too, though.
Right.
And those doctors that most people are more intimidated by them, they just really irk me now. So I'm not intimidated anymore. I'm just irked by their attitude, and and sometimes it just So in the beginning,
I agree with Tima. Something I've learned moving into leadership and still doing bedside, doing a little bit of both, is that some physicians feel that they are validated in their disrespect or intimidation of other people. In their mind, they are just doing what's right for the patient. Unfortunately, they see the patient for 10 minutes and they don't see everything that we're doing for the patient. So and to them, it's, I'm being a good doctor because I'm saying you haven't done this right. But unfortunately, that's not true. And then on a second note, we all know that there's some that carry their weight and there's some that don't. So some of us get punished for those that don't. Because the physician's been burnt before
all the time.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah. I don't think that I was ever in the beginning, of course, you're intimidated by everything. I was just a scary nurse, and I'm still scary in some ways. But you just
scared of, Les?
I some stuff. I don't wanna, I'm scared of, I don't want to mess up. So I document probably way more than I should. But I remember, I think, Deidre, I don't know if we worked together that night, but I remember, quick story about, it was, I won't call the doctor's name, but I remember his name, let that be clear. He was upset because I was calling him about medication, pain medication for a patient. And then Tima, you might have been there too, I'm not sure. But it was late. It was like 2, 3 in the morning. Okay. He was upset. He hung up in my face because he was mad that I was calling him about that. Like it was something that could wait. Now the patient was in a lot of pain, crying, wanted something. So I had to take the brunt of him getting mad at me for trying to advocate for my patient, which that's what we do. Like he was very upset. So I called him right back, because at that time I wasn't scared. I have been a nurse for a minute. So I wasn't scared. I called him back. He started cursing because I called him back. So I, at that time, hung up on him. He was not happy about that at all. He called me back with more cuss words. I hung up again. He then spoke to the director, like I guess the director over us, and he was not happy. And the director at that time, she sided with me. She didn't even reprimand me for hanging up on him. But just quickly, those are the things that we have to go through. When we advocate, when we do these things, I wasn't going to let my patient suffer because you wanted to sleep. If you wanted, you have to think about those things. If you want to sleep, then maybe you should write an order and put it in the order so we don't have to bother you. But because you couldn't, guess what? It's 3 in the morning. I'm going to call you because I advocate for my patients, which we all do. It's what we do. So that kind of leads me, since we don't have another question right now, right? That leads me to the next one. What kind of relationships do doctors and nurses have, in your opinion, and what kind should we have with them? Let's start with Kola.
I think that doctors and nurses should definitely have a trusting relationship. I think that just as much as we trust them, I think that they should trust us with some of our autonomy. And I think a lot of doctors and nurses have that relationship. There are some doctors you can work with, and they trust you to put in certain orders. They trust your judgment. But I just, being that we are their eyes and ears, I feel like they can't really function without us. So I feel like there should be more of an equal kind of I know we're not equal. You know, I know that you're an MD and I'm an RN, but if I wasn't here tonight, how would this really go down? You know, and I just feel like they don't always respect that. So I think that there should definitely be some respect there. And not all doctors are disrespectful and kind of look down at nurses, but I like the doctors who appreciate what we're doing and act like they do.
It's so refreshing.
It is.
What do you think, team?
Yes, I feel like definitely. Sorry, dropped my phone.
I love you, team.
Deidre, the same team,
I definitely feel like.
I love you, Tima.
Still Tima.
What happened to my phone?
We love you, team.
We love you, Tima. We love you, Tima.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Tima. After this, we got another question. I don't know. Oh,
where'd she go?
I don't know. Team, sorry.
She lost the phone.
She just lost her phone. She just threw it this time, I guess. So y'all, we got another. Huh? Deidre, what?
You didn't ask Deidre.
Oh, I thought because we had another question. I'm getting fussed at by my IT guy.
Okay.
He gonna get it.
So remind me. Now I done got lost because.
Okay, sorry. So I'm asking what kind of relationship does doctors and nurses have, and what kind do you think they should have?
Okay, so I will say that I'm gonna challenge Kola on something. She said we're not equal, and I disagree because your car can't run without your wheels. Your car can't run without your steering wheel. Your car can't run. It could potentially run without your radio, but if you're me, it can't run without your radio. So everybody is just as important, and that's something that I even tell. And again, current role as a director with 100+ direct reports. To me, it doesn't matter that I carry the role of director because ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm a nurse. So we are all equal. We just have different jobs to do. Different roles. So there is one physician that said it best. Les, you may remember this person, but his uncle he was a physician in Florida, and he told him that if you do not make friends with your nurses, your nurse is everything to you. Your nurse can tell you what you need to do for your patient. Your nurse can tell you everything you need to know. So you need to make friends with your nurses. You need to trust them, and you need to make them trust you or allow them to trust you. Exactly. So that goes hand in hand with the autonomy of what Kola said. I completely remember that. I remember that. Yeah. So to me, that's huge. We have a physician right now that works with us that is wonderful. He will go in, and if you're bathing a patient and he wants to assess the patient or talk to the patient, he will help you finish bathing that patient while he talks to the patient and does his assessment. Take a picture of that. To me, right. To me, that is huge because it allows us to be a team. We're there for the patient. Everybody's there for the same reason. And it shows the patient that. Right. It shows the patient that everybody's there. That is exactly. That explains the interdisciplinary piece of care. Yes, for sure. And we don't always have that. For sure. Yeah, we got a couple of questions. Let's dig in.
All right. Two-part question. How do you manage when physicians give you the worst problems? Also, do you often have problems with other care team members from other disciplines getting in the way of to work?
So I think the first question was, do doctors...
No, how do you manage when physicians give you the worst problem?
How do we manage when doctors are the worst problem, are actually giving us the problems that we're having for the day? And two...
how often do you have problems with other care team members from other...
Like respiratory, dietary, whatever, wound care, whatever, other disciplines. So, everybody got the questions? We good? Okay, so team, since you left us and went to have a drink or something, I don't really know what you did.
You should have brought us all one back.
Right. I mean, I'm just saying. With mine. What do you think? What do how do you manage when doctors are the problem?
I haven't had that many issues with doctors in a while. Um, if it's something, I only had one particular doctor that really kind of get rude, and he's like that to everybody except for one person who loves everyone and knows everyone on our floor. Y'all know Miss our mama.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
So doctor,
Cheryl.
it was somewhat similar to it was somewhat similar to Leslie. He rounded, and I didn't round with him on a patient. He left. The patient was still having some issues. So I called him back and let him know what's going on. He proceeded to tell me, if you would have rounded with me, would know that I addressed that or read my note. And I proceeded to tell him that, yes, I know that you rounded on a patient, and I saw your note, but she's still having a problem, and it has not been addressed. And he hung up on me. Just fine. I didn't call him back. He called me back and ordered something to treat the patient, which he probably should have done in the beginning. And only other thing in that situation, I just let my manager know, just in case it was something from that, just to cover myself. I haven't really had no issues with any other doctors or anything like that. But I do know I can reach out to my manager or to a supervisor if we have any issues, and they usually they'd be good about backing us up and taking care of it.
Right. Cola, you had any issues with doctors?
No, I mean, nothing really major. A lot of them have that God complex, and I think we're ready to experience that. And like you said, we advocate for our patient and we move on. So I can't remember any real explosive issues for me in my very short nursing career. So not yet.
So that's a running joke me and Cola has. She swears she knew. She's not new. She likes to call herself new, which no one listens to. So my experience with doctors, over the years, I've had experiences with them, but I think I want to bring out more than anything else how not just how we manage how we manage them, how we manage everything. They get managed the way we manage everything. We have so much on our plate that they're not even a factor anymore. You just manage them the way you do to get your day the way where it needs to go. So however, whatever you can do to keep your day above water, you're going to do it. Whether that's, I have to pick and choose my battles. That's what a nurse has to do all the time. You have to pick and choose what is important to fight. And a doctor, because they have God complexes, not all of them, but some of them have that God complex. You just let them have their time. If that's how you want to feel, that's fine. I don't really have time because I got 6 patients. I don't really have time to rub and love on you right now. So I'm going to let you do your thing, and then I'm going to go over here. So that's kind of how we manage just everything, which is another phenomenal aspect of nurses. We just juggle everything, and you do it very well because people leave alive, for one, and they're most of the time happy with what we're doing. They trust us.
Yeah.
So I don't really have that much of an issue. Here's another question, you guys.
All right, this one's for Deidre.
Because
you're in a leadership role, do you miss seeing patients and interacting with families on a more personal level?
So I would say yes if I was the leader that didn't still take patients and interact daily with my patients and families. Do I miss it being a 12-hour shift of that's what I do? Yes, because I enjoy taking care of patients. But I just took a team of 6 patients last Sunday and was there all day, took care of them. So I'm a different kind of leader. I still jump in on off hours or when needed. So I still get a little bit of that. Something that most people don't know right now is I've recently resigned from my role as a director to take a step back and get back to the bedside and take care of the patients, partially because of all those things that pile on top of you. I don't want to get so inundated with the administration side of things that I forget why I became a nurse. And I felt myself getting that way because I was in a very large role as a director. I had 8 different departments and I was a chest pain center coordinator. So to me, it's very important that I maintain the patient care side of things. And at the point that I realized that I was moving further away from that, it was continue if that's my goal in life, which it's not, or get back to the bedside and then make that decision on what I want to do. Where do I want to go? So luckily, I'm one of the directors that doesn't miss it because I still kind of jump in and do it.
All right, we have another question. Back to the doctors. Have you ever had to override the physician's decision, or can you override?
Wow. Y'all got it?
So I have a really good one for that. We had, and I'm just jumping in because I have a really good one for that. So as nurses, everybody thinks, no, you don't override a physician. Ultimately, at the end of the day, if it's not safe for my patient and I don't trust the order that I'm given, then I absolutely can say, this is not going to be safe for this patient and escalate it. If someone else chooses to do it on behalf of that physician, then that's fine. But I don't have to. We had an 82-year-old woman. Some people may not understand this, but an 82-year-old woman, blood pressure running in the 90s. She was about to go home and she was on 80 of Lasix IV prior to discharge. They wanted us to continue to give that one dose of Lasix, 80 IV with a blood pressure of 90, and then walk the patient out.
So let me clarify, David, before you finish. Hold your thought, because there are people that are watching that aren't nurses. So yes. Lasix, you guys, is a diuretic. It is it makes you pee, it pulls the fluid off. So that's what it does. We are very hesitant when we give it to older people, especially with a low blood pressure. So when she says a blood pressure of 90, that is low. So we hesitate to give diuretics to people with low blood pressure, especially if they're old. Okay, go ahead, Adri. Sorry.
So to me, thank you for clarifying. I forget, we forget because it's what we do all the time.
Right.
For me, that's not safe. I wouldn't want to send anyone anywhere after. A matter of fact, I really don't even want to give the 80 of Lasix with a blood pressure that low, regardless of if she's going home or not. So tried to go back and rationalize with the physician. This is not the right thing to do. This particular physician didn't have needed hearing aids or something because wasn't listening at all. Did not give the Lasix and called administration or above me at the time. Administration, my CNO was above me. I was the director taking care of the patient. And then I called my CNO, who then had to call our CMO and get our CMO involved with this physician. Needless to say, the patient didn't get the Lasix. Actually changed the dose to a PO of by mouth tablet of 20 milligrams, which is a much smaller dose. So does that mean I can go against the physician? No, but if it's advocating for the patient's safety, I can absolutely not follow the order and escalate it appropriately.
And as nurses, you shouldn't. So you should, our number one goal is to care for the patient and make sure and keep them safe. That's our goal. That is what we do. So anything that interferes with that is we should be speaking up. So you absolutely should say something. That's not a nurse that I would tell not to say anything if they see an order that's not right. Because especially I came up when I was raised in nursing when there was paper charting. So, the doctors, you could hardly, read what they were saying half of the time. So you always had to clarify. And if something looked wrong or didn't look right, you have to absolutely advocate and say, hey, I'm not giving this. I'm not, giving 300 of Norvasc. That's ridiculous. Like, so you have to advocate and say this is not right. Cola or Tima, you guys have any answers for that question, or have you encountered it?
No,
No, I agree.
uh-huh.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't specify. Sorry, guys.
I agree that's what we're here for, and I think if nothing else, this last year, when we're the only ones in there advocating for these patients because their family is not allowed to come in and try and advocate for them, that's what we have to do. And I think we have to just get comfortable challenging, respectfully challenging physicians, especially when we have that feeling like this isn't right. I'm not doing this.
That
I'm not
gut, right? That gut.
Yeah, that gut feeling.
Right.
It'll tell you every time.
Every time. What you think, team?
Yeah, I was gonna say I agree. I haven't had any major issues with handling that, but for example, today, we had a patient in her late 80s, is on a machine like a mask giving that's forcing air into her lungs. So she's not able to tolerate being off of it. And the doctor ordered a test in interventional radiology to pull fluid off from her lungs, but she was not safe enough to go off the floor.
Okay.
So they had an intensivist come and evaluate her. And I was talking to him about it, and I was because I would have to go off the floor with the patient. I was charging, but the nurse that had the patient couldn't go off the floor with her. So we was just trying to see, should we take this patient off? Would it be safe? The patient was a do not resuscitate or do not intubate patient. So if something was to happen when I was down there in radiology, them doing something will happen, we'll be responsible for. And the family member was not there to kind of tell us what they want us to do. Because sometimes, even though they have their code status as a DNR, DNI, the family can't override that if they so choose to at that time. And so I was really happy that he did come around and evaluate the patient, because he was actually agreeing to what we were saying, that no, we can't go off the floor with this patient. He actually got on the phone, talked to the other doctor that's over the patient, and just really voiced his concerns and our concerns, and that they can come to the bedside and do that procedure. That's the most safest.
Right.
And so sometimes the other thing is the doctor that ordered the test, I don't know if they realize this, or maybe they do realize, I don't know, or maybe they don't think all these things through like we have to do, and realize everything that we have to do to make sure these things happen.
Right.
And if you asking for us to do something like that, that's not really the safest option for the patient. He could have put it in where they can come and do it at bedside, but he didn't.
Right.
But that was just we just have to, like Deidre said, we just got to advocate for our patients.
We got to do it.
Do the best we can and follow the chain of command.
It works. It works every time. We got 2 more questions.
Okay. Have any of y'all gotten the coronavirus?
I have.
I have not.
Not that I know of. I have never been tested.
I have. I had it in August of last year.
So my son was positive. I did get sick, had a cough, ran a fever, did not get tested because why when it was there? I didn't feel, I have been tested multiple times, but the one time that I was sick with a cough and a fever and body aches and fatigue, I did not get tested because there was no point. My son was positive, and I could say yes, but I could also say no because I've never tested positive.
Okay.
All right. Second question is kind of going back to the issue. Have you ever had an issue with a fellow nurse? And if so, what do you do?
Oh, all the time.
Oh.
All the time. All the time. I mean, not okay. That sounds bad. Not all the time. Sound like it sound like I was just like ready to throw some bowls. That's not it. That's not true. It happens a lot as you get in leadership, and when you charge. And it happens more, in my opinion, then than it does when you're just working side by side with your coworkers. When you have to be, I don't want to use above because we're not, but when you have to be over them, you get lots more pushback with that. So how I deal with it, I'm pretty no nonsense. I will not raise my voice. First and foremost, I'm a professional and I take that very seriously. You will never see me arguing back and forth with somebody at the nurse's station.
People too scared of you.
I don't know why people were scared of me. I don't know. I think it's my
scared
color.
of you.
I don't know. I don't know what it was, but and I now definitely, because I sound deeper than I did. So now I really look like I want to handle some business. But yeah, So you just have to. What I do when I have issues, I've had more issues here at this job than I did in Columbus. But what I had to do is just tell people, we can talk about this, but we can take this somewhere else, because they like to get irate outwardly, and that is not my style. It never has been. So I cannot. But y'all, I'm sorry. I gotta not wrap it up, but answer these 3 questions, and then we're gonna wrap it up soon. But I want to make sure we're answering questions from the audience.
Okay.
So we get these ones.
All right. Any advice for new nurses, especially students?
Cola, since you're a new nurse.
Oh, I'm new now.
New nurses.
Yeah, people told me when I first started there with Leslie, they kept saying, just be patient. Be patient. You'll get it. You'll get it. And I just didn't think I was really going to get it. And, but you do. They told me a lot to wait till after your first or second year and you'll feel more comfortable, and just know that will happen, because it was very uncomfortable, very frightening when I first started. I asked a lot of questions, and someone told me once after I asked probably too many questions. I said, you're going to have to use your nursing knowledge for this. So in other words, don't keep asking me these medication questions. I won't say who did that, but I'll just say I remember who it was.
It's old. Let it go. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
My
advice is just give it some time, learn as much as you can. Oh, and another good piece of advice as a new nurse is to learn from the techs. The techs, the LPNs, they have some tricks. They have a way to do things really efficiently. And a lot of people overlook them. You shouldn't.
Right.
Work with the techs and learn from them. They'll give you a bath in about 2.5 seconds.
Right.
Okay? They'll change a diaper in less than that.
Right.
We'll still be in there trying to read about it.
Right.
And they've done it. So I love those techs.
Right. Quickly, Deidre and Tima, because we got 2 more questions. So quickly, what just some advice you guys would give new nurses?
I agree with everything Cola said. The biggest thing for me is don't sell yourself short. Know what you know, grow, ask questions, and it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to not know everything.
Right.
So
that's okay.
For me, it's just mainly that, and I truly believe that some form of med-surg experience is super important to your growth.
It's
me
key,
too.
For sure. Tima, quickly, what advice would you give to a new nurse?
I would tell them, don't give up, like David said, and just, sorry, my family just got back. I would just tell them, just don't give up, keep going. You have plenty of people that'll help you. and you're gonna make it. You're gonna do it. We got you.
Right. I agree completely. What's the other question, Ray?
The media is saying that there's a lot of nurse fatigue, especially with the pandemic happening. Do you all feel overworked and stressed right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All the time.
All day.
So,
Yeah.
so I think there was a thing called nurse fatigue prior to COVID. I don't think it's new with COVID. However, it's different, and we've had to learn to adjust, adapt, overcome, and it's the new norm.
Right.
So we're still just fatigued.
I agree and disagree because it is not new. You're right. It's definitely not new, but this COVID thing puts a huge spin on it. The fatigue we feel now is completely different. It's completely different. It's a fatigue I didn't think I would ever feel after. I thought I could feel everything after 16 years, but it is different. It is so different, and coupled with the fact that we are understaffed. So when you couple that with the fatigue, it is heightened to a level you just not ready for, because people are leaving because agencies are paying stupid money. So people are leaving for that reason, which leaves the loyal bedside people having those patients. The charge nurse the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, I had 7 patients as charge. So it's just different. It's just a different thing. So yeah, I completely feel it. I feel it all the time. Go ahead.
Let me know if this is the appropriate place for this. In y'all opinion, this person was next to somebody who tested positive, but they never contracted COVID. Is that for this panel?
Yeah, they can ask that.
Okay, so do y'all have an opinion on why they didn't?
Y'all heard it?
My children, my young children had it, and we all were in the same house. And out of the people in the house, me, my husband, and their elderly grandmother with several comorbidities did not get it. I don't know how. And like I said, I thought I was running around with antibodies, I just recently found out about a week ago that no, I do not have them. So I'm not sure what the reason would be, aside from, as far as being a nurse, I just feel like we might have had COVID a long time ago. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We probably had everything else. But the other people in my household still didn't get it. And we were around these kids, So I don't know. That was strange to me. I thought surely one of us would get it, and we didn't.
Right. Mm-hmm. The same with me. When I had it, my now fiance didn't have it. He didn't have it, and neither did my daughter. So I have no idea what happened.
It does.
I don't know.
Picks and chooses. It picks and chooses. My daughter drank after my son the day before he tested positive, and never nothing.
Right.
So I mean, it's just
the weirdest thing. Yeah. To answer that professionally, I don't know.
I thought she was coming to him with something.
It picks and chooses. We can't always, with these things, we can't pinpoint it. I think that's part of the problem of how it became a pandemic.
Right.
You can't pinpoint where these things are going to happen or who's going to get it.
Right.
You don't know, which makes it so hard to get a hold of. So yeah, I wish we could. I think if we could answer that, we would have honed in on this a lot sooner.
All right. So last question.
Last question, y'all.
I think this is it's a two-parter, but I think this is perfect. All right. Why did you become a nurse? And if you weren't a nurse, what else do you think you would be doing?
All right, let's start with Tima, and because in my screen, you guys we'll just start with Tima and we'll go around.
Why did I become a nurse? I always wanted to nurse since I was in middle school. I always wanted to, I think I wanted to either be a nurse or a psychologist. I always felt like people always was can talk to me and I can listen. I was a good listener and I always want to help people. And I chose nursing to help people, and I wanted to be a NIC nurse, NICU nurse, neonatal intensive care nurse. I wanted to hold the babies and rock the babies. I was young when I thought about that. I know it's more into that now, but I really got nursing because I wanted to help. And I love being a nurse. If there's anything else I can do, I don't know what yet. I've been thinking about that lately, but my calling isn't to be a nurse, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Daisy.
So I think that's what
I come from a long line of healthcare workers, which in turn caused us to be in. I had my mom and her sisters, there were 7 of them, had a personal care home. So growing up, we played cards with the old man Ned, who was at their personal care home, and kind of grew up doing that. So taking care of people was always just what we knew. That's one thing. And then when I was in high school, I found out that I had a heart murmur. I spent a week in the hospital because I kept passing out, had to go through all these things. So I thought I wanted to be a pediatric nurse. However, changed my mind because I'm a mama and know how I am about my children, and I don't want no baby mama drama. So I stayed with the old grown people that can take care of themselves.
Right. What would you be if you weren't a nurse?
The other thing that I wanted to be when I was younger was a teacher. So the fun thing about being a nurse is I can be a nurse and a teacher. And
yeah.
Other than that, I don't think I've ever thought of anything else.
Yeah. So on my screen, I'm next in the way we're going. So I became a nurse because, to be honest, like, this is just real. I wanted to be a doctor, but then I got pregnant with Chloe, and that way wasn't available to me because I needed to now make some money and take care of my child. So I went to nursing. I still wanted to stay in the medical field. But in college, my major was biology pre-med. So that didn't work out. And then, so I became a nurse because I wanted to stay in the field. But now that I'm a nurse, I love it. I couldn't even see myself being a doctor because of the time and the care I get to take individually with patients. I love. If I wasn't a nurse, I want to be a detective. I would say what I wanted. Ray messing with me.
You could be a forensic nurse.
He knows what I really would like to be, but I can't say this on this platform. But I was. Y'all know I'm crazy. So yeah, I wanted to be a detective. But you're right, I can be a forensic nurse. But I don't know. And to be a detective, you have to be a cop, and I don't want to be a cop first. So yeah, that's that. But that's me. So Carla, you next.
I became a nurse later in life. So it's my second profession. And before I was a nurse, all I used to say, my sister-in-law was a nurse, and I used to say, I don't know how you do this. I could never do it. That's all I ever said. Until my mother got sick with pancreatic cancer, and I became her personal advocate. And I studied a lot, and I watched a lot of nurses and doctors at MD Anderson. And it was when I would start researching information and bringing it to the physicians, and they actually did what I suggested. That gave me the confidence. Mm-hmm. Furthermore, after taking care of her for 6 months, I lost my job. So I went home and I'm like, I'm going to school for nursing. And I think I was just grief-stricken and I jumped into it. Mm-hmm. And it's a blur. I probably have PTSD from nursing school, but we got through it. And here I am. So it was for her. I did that because I thought I wanted to really explore cancer research. I have not done that yet, but I thought that that's what I would do. That's what pushed me through nursing school.
Nice. What would you be if you weren't a nurse?
So I'd be happy being a real housewife.
Right.
You know,
I
extra
agree.
money.
Right.
You know, I'd love to be kept,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I gotta work. So I don't
Right.
know. I was in business before. I think that eventually, I'll probably, because I'm not at the bedside anymore, I think that eventually I'll end up in some form of nursing that probably won't have me at the bedside. I think I'll be doing something that's gonna probably relate to what I used to do.
Right.
And
Cool.
just kind of incorporate nursing at the same time. But
Right.
COVID got me thinking about being a Walmart greeter.
I'm telling you,
So,
a Starbucks barista. They got great
something.
benefits.
Yeah.
Right.
Barista.
Well, that was the last question, you guys. Thank you so much. I cannot thank you enough. I know a lot of nurses, but you guys, when I wanted to do this webinar, you three instantly came to my mind. Just because you're personable, your character, how you are. I've seen you work. And I'm drawn to that. And that's the kind of people that I wanted on my webinar. So I instantly thought of you three. You guys are phenomenal. And I'm not just saying that you are my friends, but you are so good at what you do. The patients are appreciative. They are receptive to you. And I am just so thankful to know all of you. And I thank you for doing this, taking an hour and some change out of your time, because I know it's late. You probably got to get dinner on for kids and stuff. So I really, really appreciate it. I will be calling on y'all again. Don't think you off the hook. And I also want to thank everybody that logged on and watched us. TSEC, Tyson Storehouse Education Center Health Hub. We really appreciate it. Keep tuning in. Sorry, I keep shaking the table. Keep tuning in for webinars that we're going to present every month. Next month will be on stress. And I think that is something that we really need in this time because of COVID. So stay tuned. You'll see lots of posts and messages from me. Ladies, Cola, Tima, Deidre, I cannot thank you enough. Thank you guys so much. I'm so glad to see you. Glad you all are well. Thanks, guys. Love you all so much. Thank you, Facebook. Thank you, everybody, for watching. You guys take care.
Love y'all. Nice to meet you, Cola.
Nice to meet you guys.
Cola.
Bye, guys.
Love you
Bye,
guys.
Liz.
Bye.
Thank you.
How do I